Hello class, welcome to lesson 8. This week we will be diving into a new essay and our weeks will be organized a little differently, so pay attention for just a minute. This week we will not be turning in a rough draft for the midweek deadline. Instead, we will be turning in an outline for the Saturday deadline, okay? We'll do an outline this week, rough draft next week, final draft the following week. We'll have 3 weeks for this essay. But make sure that you turn in an outline this Saturday. If you give me a draft, I will not give you credit. Part of this week's purpose is to learn how to outline, and it's going to help you write a better draft next week. So just make sure you've got an outline. Okay, now we're back to our normal schedule. I will give a brief overview of this week's material, and then we will talk about how to draft your outline. Okay, so this week we will be looking at improving style. If you have questions about how to do well on the quiz, take a look at the video link in the description and I'll show you the most common mistakes there. We will be learning how to outline in the paragraph and essay development videos, and then your reading assignment will give you a great example of this week's essay, of the persuasive essay. If you come to your reading assignments and look at the bystander effect, notice it's got commentary. Commentary is the best. It means that the author shows you why they wrote it the way they did and why it works. So if we look at the bystander effect, you will see these comments in the margins. And so, for example, here it shows you that the introduction is using a hook to get the reader's attention. And that's important. That is something that you will need to do in your persuasive essay. So here's an example. Okay, so pay attention to the comments and then think about how to use the comments techniques in your own paper. All right. Also, for our discussion board this week, you will simply be talking about a topic you're considering for your persuasive essay. And we'll learn more about that as we go over the assignment. But yes, this week is just to talk about 1 to 2 topics that you're considering. Try answering these questions about your topic so that you're really exploring it and giving other students a chance to help you out with your topic. Okay? So there's our brief overview. Let's head over to the outline. Okay? So when you click in to the outline instructions that are given down here, though I recommend you start on your outline at the beginning of the week rather than waiting till the end. But when you click here, you come to a description of the persuasive essay itself. Notice this is describing how to write your draft. But remember, we're turning in an outline, not a draft this week. So read through this to get an idea of the type of essay you're writing, but then come all the way down here to Lesson 8 Assignment Explanatory Outline. This is your assignment for the week. Okay? So it tells you to read through the assignment description and then to write an outline. Basically, it just tells you that an explanatory outline is more filled out than what we normally think of as an outline. You will need to have a thesis listed, and then you will list each point of what you want to talk about in each paragraph and how it relates back to the thesis. So I have copied over this example outline to a Word document here. Let's take a look at it. So yes, you will have to have a thesis first thing. Remember, your thesis is the main point of your essay, and each paragraph should relate back to this main point, should directly support the main point. So here their thesis is that the city of Lubbock should pave alleyways to prevent injury to ordnance workers and patrons. All right. And then this writer decides to use several points to explain their introduction. If you want to explain your introduction in just one paragraph, that is just fine. So for their paragraph, they want to start with a question asking the audience if he or she thinks emptying the garbage is an easy chore. This is to grab the audience's attention. Okay, the reason they started with this is because if you come to the rubric here, it says that for the introduction, the title needs to be catchy, so have an interesting title, not just persuasive essay, and indicates the paper's subject, and the introduction engagingly frames and focuses the position or problem and provides relevant background. So in other words, your introduction needs to grab your reader's attention. It can't just dive into the issue. The persuasive essay is basically the critical thinking essay, but with more interest added to it, trying to think about how to engage your readers in what you're trying to say. So here, this person does it by starting with a story. Think about it. How are you going to engage your reader's attention? How are you going to make them want to read about this problem? Why is it interesting? Why is it relevant to him or her? So think about having a point for your own hook. How are you going to hook your readers in? Then this writer wants to expand on how the city places trash bins in the alleyways. Okay, this is explaining the problem. They hooked the reader, now they explain the problem. In alleyways behind homes to preserve the beauty of the city. It is a good theory and thought, but it in reality, ooh, look, they used it twice, that's fun, does not work because the unpaved conditions of the alleyways cause problems in any type of weather. Okay, problem is explained. This needs to change so community members do not have to deal with these primitive conditions. I will end my introduction with my thesis that the City of Lubbock should pave alleyways to prevent injury to ordinance workers and patrons. Good. This is a good model of how to do that introductory paragraph. The bottom of your introductory paragraph should be this thesis. So this is not a bad outline to follow for creating your own introduction outlines here. Okay? And then this person goes on to have a single point, a single bullet for each paragraph or idea that they want to present in their essay. For example, he says, I will start into the problem explaining how alleyways become impassable for garbage trucks and patrons when it rains. Garbage trucks get stuck, patrons don't want to walk through the mud. The only thing I would add to this is a reminder that this could be solved with paved alleyways. Okay, because each paragraph needs to tie back to the thesis. So as you're outlining, it can be helpful to remind yourself that at the end of the paragraph, you need to point back to your thesis and say, remember my main point? That would fix this problem right here. Okay, and this person goes on to give a single point for each idea that they want to bring up. Let's see here. Notice that they also have a good conclusion here. In the conclusion, I will explain that paving the alleyways will make the City of Lubbock a better place for ordinance workers and patrons. Basically, this is just a reminder to themselves to come back to the thesis in their conclusion, which you need to do as well. Okay, as I look through this outline, I actually see something that they may be missing. And this is something that is listed here. Notice it says the paper adequately and appropriately considers opposing arguments. In this outline, I do not see an opposing argument addressed. So make sure that in your outline, you have an opposing argument. So maybe, let's insert our own point H. There we go. We can say, I will then move to an opposing viewpoint. Some people believe that it is too expensive to pave the alleyways. And then you could keep it in the same paragraph or start a new paragraph and say, I will refute this by explaining that that it is more expensive to dig out the stuck garbage trucks than it is to pave the alleyways now. Okay, so that needs to be in your outline as well, an opposing viewpoint. Why do other people think we should not pave the alleyways? And then why are they wrong? Why is your thesis still correct? You do not have to have a works cited. This person just stuck one in so that they're ready for their next paper, for the fuller paper, and they can remember the different website they wanted to visit. Okay, so there's a good example of how to outline your paper. Remember that this assignment, the persuasive essay, wants you to pick something that is important to you. It mentions this somewhere in here. Yeah, it wants you to pick something that is impactful to your life. So feel free to look around the things in your life that bother you or that you wish would change, and you can choose that to be what you want to write your persuasive essay about. Notice this person wrote about probably their hometown and how they wanted something to change in their hometown. So feel free to pick something that's close to home. I actually did a little brainstorm myself. Let's see here, there it is. I just brainstormed, what are some things that I care about? What are some things I've thought about? Well, what about physical books versus virtual books? Which one's better, having a Kindle or having the real thing in your hands? What's better, having college team sports or no college team sports? I went to Rexburg, to BYU, Idaho, and they didn't have a college team. Did I miss out? I've wondered about that. So maybe that's something I could talk about. Or maybe about whether homeschool or public school is better, something I thought about as I've been raising my little boy. So feel free to pick something close to home, and then write out your thesis, what you want your main point to be, what do you want to convince people of, and then go through your different points. Make sure you've got an introduction with a hook, make sure that you mention your opposing viewpoint, and come back to your thesis in your conclusion. All right, that's about it. I will be looking over your outlines to make sure they are outlines and that you have enough points here to fill 2 to 3 pages. Notice that's something different. That's why we're taking 3 weeks with this essay, because it is longer. So make sure you've got plenty of points to fill out that many pages, that you've got things you want to say about this subject. Also, feel free to outline several different ideas if you can't decide. Outlines are meant to be changeable. They're meant to help you brainstorm. So use this for your benefit. And if you have any questions, feel free to talk to me. You can email me, text me, call me, whatever. And I would be happy to help you brainstorm or start working on your outline. Okay? I look forward to hearing from you.